Hello and welcome to the Lakshmi Narayana Global Music Festival 2022. It's day 5, and if you've been with us all these days, thank you for being on this journey. If today is your first day, I hope you enjoy and welcome. Today we're excited to present never before heard recordings. The first composition you're going to hear is Miss Melody, something Dr. Subramaniam wrote many years ago and played with his dear friend Herbie Hancock. That was Miss Melody by Dr. L Subramaniam and Herbie Hancock. Next, we're excited to present a dialogue, a conversation between Dr. L Subramaniam and the Oscar-winning sound designer Resul Pookutty.
Namaste. Rasul, it's such a great pleasure and privilege to have you on Lakshminarayana Global Music Festival. You have brought glory to India, and people have realized what sound design means because of you. Can you tell us about your childhood, how you grew up, how you ended up in the film industry and getting an Oscar?
I feel I'm an ordinary man thrown into extraordinary situations in life. That is what I would like to look at myself. There were many influences in my life. When you grow up, when I was reading detective novels, when I was in schools, I wanted to be a detective. Then I wanted to be like Gandhiji. Then I wanted to be like Karl Marx. I guess I wanted to be someone every time of my life. Every time you pass through your learning process. And there's one thing very common in my growing up is that I was blessed with great teachers, who taught me the actual learning is outside the syllabus of the books. So for me, that was a great thing. And I studied in Malayalam medium. When I was growing up, there was no electricity in my in my village. The first electricity came into existence in my village when I was in 12th standard. There was no buses to go to the school. I had to walk 6 kilometers every day to the school. Today I sit and think in my son, if he had to walk 6 kilometers in his first standard at the age of 4, would I send him? This is something that we as modern day parents have to ask ourselves. But our parents sent us, So there was something that is, because they wanted to change the situation they were living in. And the only means to change was education. That's probably why they sent us to that far distances. And when I studied under kerosene lamp, I didn't think much of my situation that I am studying under a kerosene lamp. I thought Abraham Lincoln studied under street lamp and went on to become the President of the United States. And I could also become something, And I never was put down by the situations that I was in. Those never controlled me. What controlled me was my aspirations, So that was one aspect of it. And from a very village boy studying in his own native language, I came into college where the medium of instruction suddenly changed to English. But still we were conversing in our native language, so it was still okay. And I fell in love with physics at that time. My mother wanted me to be a doctor, and I was not interested. I wrote the exams, and I also fared quite well. I got ranks that I could probably become a doctor. But by the time I fell in love with physics, and to a great deal that shaped me in a way. And I wanted to be a physicist. And I thought I will invent superconductive element and win a Nobel Prize for India. That was my ambition. Again, man proposes, God disposes. I couldn't pursue my master's in physics.
But you got Oscar for India.
That's what I said. It's not a mean feat though. But I still missed the Nobel Prize. So I couldn't pursue my master's in physics, and I was not doing anything. So I joined for law. So when I joined for law, I thought I want to become a Supreme Court judge. The Chief Justice of India was my ambition. Or become an advocate like Nani Palkhiwala. While I was doing law, a couple of my friends who studied with me physics came and told me there is a course in Film Institute called Film and Television Institute of India. वहाँ पे course है sound recording and sound engineering. The basic qualification is BSc Physics. Let's apply. So I got attracted to the word engineering. And I applied. Out of the 5 people, I got it. I was the only one who got it. And I went there. I thought I went there as an extension of my physics studies. I thought that's what I would do there.
Where was this?
Pune.
Pune.
So it's an elaborate selection procedures. You have an all-India entrance, then they will call you, 25 students, they will call you. Then they give you a 1-week introduction course in cinema. Then there's a written test based on that course. Then there's an interview. So there's 3 stages of selection. So I was called in there for the second selection procedure, and I went there. And by the time I had read all the competition success and mugged up interviews, you read all this IAS interviews and how to fare good in interviews and all that. With that structured knowledge, I went there. So they asked me, so why are you here? I said, I want to do sound and cinema and change the society, betterment of this thing. I want to. They said, you go back. I was failed. I failed at my first attempt. And that failure was the biggest lesson for me. I discovered cinema and that failure. So I came back to Trivandrum. I thought I'll pursue my law. But law was just a temporary position for me. That next whole 1 year, I converted myself from a science student to an art student. I started reading things. there was not a single cinema projection that I haven't left in Trivandrum at that time. I revived a film club in my law school, Kerala University, wherever I could go. My thing was like every day I have to watch a movie. There was not a single poet sammelan that I wasn't there. There was not a single performance in Padmanabha Swami temple that I was not there. That whole 1 year. And I realized that it is changing me. As a person, it is changing me. My relationship to people, it is changing. I have become a better human being, I realized. And second year, I again applied. I got in. And I went there. Of course, they asked me again, why are you here? By the time I had done 2 years of law, I also had something to fall back on. So I thought I decided to be a little naughty with them. So they asked me, why are you here? I said, you called me again, so I'm here. Achha, what do you think your chances are this time? I said, I'm as confident as I should be in the stage. So then the director told me, okay, I'm going to fail you. What happens then? So I looked at everybody. So there are some 13 people on the interview board. I said, look, if you have an intention to fail me, the others may have an intention to pass me, then what happens? They all had a good laugh. They said, your interview is over. I came on and I felt so bad. I said, why do you have to be so arrogant? Why? So I felt bad. I felt depressed. So at that time, if you feel happy, you go and watch a movie. If you feel depressed, you go watch a movie. If you're sad, you go watch a movie. That is our medicine for everything. So I went to watch a movie in Alka Theatre in Pune. I saw a movie called Fish Called Wanda. I laughed my heart out and I came back. Somebody said, your sound list has come out. You got him. I'm like, I got him. It's like, could be some mistake. I was so rude with them. They will throw me out. Then, years later when I worked on Three Idiots, it's exactly the same thing. I go, like Amir Khan going and looking at the list, I'll go and look at the list from bottom below. So at that time, there were only 6 students in like general merit. Bottom, my name is not there. My name is in the first rank. I was overjoyed. And also the first rank means you get scholarship. So 500 rupees INB Ministry scholarship and 300 rupees from my state government scholarship. So 800 rupees. So I thought, okay, out of the 800 rupees, 600 rupees I had to pay the fees, tuition fees. I will study on my own. And when I went back, so I sent a telegram to my mother saying that I won first rank. So she was all the more happy that I left law and I'm going for something that I like. She was the pillar of strength. Because she never liked lawyers. She said, they are like crows. They wear black and they lie. So I don't want my son to lie. So you go and do whatever you want. Only my father was like, you've been doing, why are you behaving like a monkey? You're jumping from one branch to the other. So I went back to my law college hostel and I wrote him a letter. Why I want to pursue cinema. After that, he never asked me anything. In fact, this topic never came up. So I left from my law college hostel. Everybody helped me. And they all gave me a send-off. I took a train, Jayanti Janata Express from Trivandrum to Pune. So finished my studies and I came out and I had some certain vision about what I want to do in the Indian film industry. And Bombay seemingly didn't allow me to do that. So I was pretty disappointed and I thought I'll go back to my law and finish my law. I studied cinema for 3 years, which is good. It made me a better human being, so I go back to it. So I came to attend the last film festival of my life, which is the International Film Festival of India. That time it was in Bombay, and following year onwards it is going to be permanently in Goa. So I was watching second last day of the festival. I was watching a film in Metro, and somebody called my name out. I was watching Kieslowski's 3 Color Blue, Blue I was watching white. Someone called me from the theatre and they asked me, can you go for a shoot? I said, what shoot? I know you always want to do live sound in cinema, no? So there's a shoot. It's a foreign shoot. The sound man is stuck in Scotland, he can't come. So can you go? I said, I can go. So at that time, I only know what is sound. I don't know anything else. So I was staying with some friend in Andheri. There was no way to contact anybody. We said, there's no time, we have to leave now. So we crossed the road, we went to Fashion Street, bought some clothes and put it in a plastic thali. And that's how my first shoot in my life started. We went for a shoot. Like I said, and I went to the shoot. I knew what was good sound and bad sound because I learned it. But I didn't know how to conduct myself in a shoot. So that I had to learn. That I had to work with everybody else. Because when we were in film students, we were making our own diploma films. The sound guy is doing his own diploma film. The direction guy is doing his own diploma film. Cameraman is doing his own diploma film. Everybody is trying to showcase things, in your diploma film. So it became a khichdi. It became avial. Didn't do anything. So that was a big learning lesson. Then after the shoot, I came back to Bombay. Festival is over. We are like all of us staying in like one room like this in Andheri. 8 of us staying in that room. Nobody had any work. So I thought, I had work. Why would I leave this work and go? So I went for the shoot again. There were 5 or 7 days of gap. I went to shoot again. And I got a call from so that was for television. That shoot was for television, some German television, something. I was averse in working in television because I was a film man. I studied cinema. I want to work in films. I was just looking down upon them. So in the second schedule of that film, I got a call from my mother, and she was unwell. She was in the hospital. She had diabetes, so sugar shot up, and she was admitted in the hospital. So I told the production guy, I need some money to be sent to my mother. So I took 6,000 rupees from him and sent in as a money order to my mother. And the following day when I called her, she was so happy that I sent my first money to her, and she took that money and paid the hospital bill and came home. She was happy. Then I realized, if this money has given my mother happiness, so I am also happy. If a work is giving happiness to others, then that work should be respected. It is not film or TV or where you're going, what you're doing. That has a sanctity because someone has got something from it. That has changed my life. So I came back to Bombay, and of course that television work was very well talked about. And I never looked back. I continued working. And every work has given me pleasure because I was in search of something in every work that I did. And so is Slumdog. Every film man hope for a Friday, very decisive Friday in his life. Every film person will have a Friday. Bachchan had his Friday. Shah Rukh had his Friday. And I had my Friday in Slumdog. This may not be my best work, but it is.
As I mentioned earlier, you're the first person to win Oscar for sound design from Asia, not only from India. Can you describe sound design for people who are unfamiliar with the term, please?
Every day when you are listening, you are actually making choices. When you walk into the house, the fridge may sound loud to you, or the AC may sound loud to you. But as you settle down in the house, they don't become important for you. You try to forget. Or the moment you hear your child, crying or laughing in that room, the sound of the AC which disturbed you is ignored. So every day, every moment in time, you as a human being are making choices of listening, hearing and listening. When a child cry, a mother understand. Sometimes she say, "No," I say, "Natak kar raha hai." She's not. Or the mother say, "Oh, she's hungry." How does the mother know? To a father, it's the same cry. But the mother knows that either she's hurt, or she's hungry, or she wants attention. Either of these things. What makes her understand that is the design for me. There is a design in that. All I am doing is creating an understanding and passing on to my audience to nourish it. In a nutshell, that is. And I work with sound. A composer works with musical instrument. A cameraman works with light and shadows. Director works with his actors. An actor work with his being, his charisma, his individuality. Everything is design.
Oh, great. Fantastic. Which was your first film?
My first film is a film called Private Detective. Private Detective. I wanted to be detective. My first film is Private Detective.
With your success, you must have done many, many films. Can you tell us roughly how many films you have done?
Maybe over 100 movies. 100 movies. I do very few films because I work from the beginning of the movie to till it goes to the audience. So I spend a lot of time with one director, in creating. So maximum I can do like 4 films a year.
Can you talk about Slumdog Millionaire, the film which won a lot of Oscars for India? You brought Oscar, Rahman brought Oscar. Can you talk about how it all happened, please?
So I worked with the producers in another project, and we had a fight in the
same producer?
Same producer. Because they were wrong in many things. So
Who was the producer?
Some producers from Delhi, some India Take One, the people who did the live production in India. So, but the first day of the shoot, they realized that this man is different. He's not fought with us for no reason, and we instantly became great friends. And so after I came back from that shoot, I was working with Amir on a film. So I got a call from them saying that there's a film that we are working on. Danny Boyle is directing it. I said, "What?" They said, "Danny Boyle." I said, "Are you sure?" They said, "Yes." Danny Boyle, Resul by Danny Boyle. I said, "Okay," because I couldn't believe it. Because I had Danny Boyle's Trainspotting's poster in my room when I was studying at the institute. So I just couldn't believe that I'm going to work with Danny Boyle. So I wanted to become double sure. I said, "I'll just call you back. I'm in a shot." So I went to IMDb and checked Danny Boyle's IMDb. And he says, "Doing pre-production for a film in India." I said, "Okay, it is true." So I called them back. I said, "I'm in. I'm doing." So then following, I met Danny Boyle. So when I went to meet him, he had some sort of a paper with him. So Danny Boyle is a kind of person who makes you feel that you are Danny Boyle and he is some insignificant guy. So he had this piece of paper, and I just leaned over it, and he saw he's actually printed my IMDb. He actually studied everything about me. He's asking me which of this film of yours I should watch. I just thought for a moment. I said, "Sir, you can watch any film, and in every film I am there. One way or the other, you will find me." Then he said, "Okay, you read the script." He gave me the script, and I read the script. And after 4 days, again I met him, and I gave my notes. So these are things that I think about the script. He said, "Pretty much 80% of your notes are correct, and we are working on it. We will come back after 6 months." We just came to experience Mumbai. That's how we began working. So he had very different idea about India when he came here. He spent almost 8 months here, living in Mumbai, trying to understand things. and he told me doing live sound in India is next to impossible. So he said we will create a booth and we'll have it parked outside the set wherever we are shooting, and I will tell you which shot is okay. We'll just quickly dub it there. I said okay. He said, the idea is good, but I don't subscribe to it. I said if you want to ADR something, that's a later decision. Allow me to work. Let me work. Then we will take a decision. If you want to keep a booth, we will keep a booth and ready. The dynamism of shoot doesn't allow me, especially in Bombay. He said, okay, I'll go by you. So we began shooting.
Wow, great. While you were doing Slumdog Millionaire sound design, did you have any interference from the director or the producer or anybody telling you to do something different?
So first day on the set of Slumdog, I got the real shock of my life. Because until then, we shoot with one camera. There's a long shot, there's a close-up, there's a master shot, then we take coverages. There was nothing like that. There were multiple cameras. There were 5 cameras. And Danny didn't believe in going for retakes. And he wanted one whole scene to be taken at one go. And there was no division of shots like the way we are used to. And he would take the whole scene, reinterpret it, and we will just everybody change around, which meant I have to do online mixing on location. And I tried my very hard to record everything professionally acceptable. And by the time I had done Amir's film, so I thought I have mastered the art of recording live in Mumbai, and I went with that ego.
Which film you have done?
Gajini. So Amir is one of the biggest star, and you work with him in the streets of Mumbai doing live sound. I thought I can now. Nothing stops me, and then nothing is working in my favor. Then we had a break on week 1. So that day I sat and thought what to do. The following week I went there and I decided I will not record dialogues on location. I will record the soundscape of Mumbai. And I took one. I still keep wondering why I won an Oscar with all the 4 or 5 films, had huge budgets and big films and remarkable work that year. But how I won. I worked with one idea. That idea was how human brain process sound at a given point. For example, you and me walking down the streets of Mumbai, and we are talking. There is traffic, there is people, there is car honking and all that. But we will still hear our conversation clearly. The human brain has the ability to delete anything and everything it doesn't want. It makes choices. But if I keep a microphone there, microphone doesn't have that intelligence. It will hear everything. What I experimented in Slumdog was to make the microphone hear how human brain process sound. So I did multi-microphoning and multi-track recording to arrive at that possibility. In a very noisy location, one sound man will choose the minimum number of microphones. But I was using 25 microphones in Dharavi because I was creating
25.
Yeah, I was creating, when the characters runs around, I was creating soundscapes between them. I thought professionally I made a disastrous decision. I thought some white people are making this movie, it will be shown in some festivals and my reputation will be intact. Nothing will happen. But that is a work that people celebrated. So I feel, this is the lesson that I learned from Slumdog, is that you need to have an idea. The execution of that idea can be unprofessional or amateur, but the idea will still communicate down to the last person in the theatre. that's one of the greatest things that I learned working with the West, is that once they hire you, they want to add value to their product. So everything you say is taken in, and they give you everything so that you can flourish as an artist, as a technician. They will allow you to flourish.
Resul, thank you very much and wish you many, many, many more Oscars. You bring it to India. And I know you are so dedicated to your work and you fully get involved in anything you do. I'm sure you will bring glory to India. Thank you once again for being part of the Lakshminarayana Global Music Festival. All the very best. Namaste.
I hope you enjoyed Day 5 of the Lakshminarayana Global Music Festival 2022. Please make sure you tune in tomorrow for the last day of the Lakshminarayana Global Music Festival 2022, celebrating 31 years of the festival as a tribute to Professor V. Lakshminarayana.